Hey guys, and how are y'all doing? It's TheWarDeclarer here, and today we'll be playing Hearts of Irons 4. But we'll not be playing the normal vanilla version of the game, as we'll be playing with mods. And there'll be two mods that we'll be activating today. The first will be the main mod, which is Kaiserreich, which is basically a mod that is set in an alternate history where Germany won World War One. Our second mod would be increase non-core manpower, as currently if we take over countries in the vanilla version, our manpower that we achieve from those countries aren't very high. So with this mod activated, it will increase our manpower that we get from countries that we've taken over, so our manpower won't drain out just as much, so we can build a much bigger army and also sustain it. So without further ado, let's start on the game. So our only scenario that we can choose would be the 1st of January 1936, and there's a brief history on the entire era. And the brief history in summarization would be basically the entire world is about to go to another world war. So there's a lot of countries that we can choose from, each has their own national focus. The country that we'll be playing as would be Canada. So we will not activate Iron Man mode or historical AI focuses, as this is an alternate history timeline, so there's no need for historical AI, and we won't be activating Iron Man because there's no achievement. So we'll be leaving our settings at regular and we can start the game. The first thing that we would want to do would be to select a national focus. So public works are available, but the King's Speech is not, and it will only be available after King George dies. And we are unable to secure the North Atlantic, but defense scheme number 1 is open, but defense scheme number 2 is closed. So we'll be doing that later on. For now, I think we'll be focusing on the public works, as it's basically improving our industry and our technology. We'll now be researching. We have 4 tabs of research, which is a pretty good start. We'll be focusing on industry and engineering first. Our last slot, we can put in an infantry upgrade, as we also want to try to modernize our entire army. Now we have some free civilian factories that we can use to produce. So we'll be looking at our production. We have 11 military factories, but we're not producing anything. So I think we can build more military factories so that when the war comes, we have enough factories to produce supplies. And I think the last thing we'll want to do would be to regroup our armies instead of scattering them all over Canada. So we'll pull them all back to Ottawa. And I think we're good to unpause the game. So it seems that we have some missing equipment, so we'll be producing them now. So we can now start using our military factories, as our division needs some reinforcements. So we'll be building the standard equipments and stuff. As you can see, we have insufficient resources, but we will not really care about that now, as we are not at war with anyone, so we don't need to mass produce items. We'll use that saved up civilian factories to continue speeding up building our military factories. So the profits from registration cities have actually gained us 5% factory output and 20 additional political power, and reduce our consumer goods factory by 5%. And now the event has came for King George's death, so our national focuses have been more or less unlocked. So there's some assassination going on down south of us. And Germany's stock market just crashed, causing the black market, which is something like the Great Depression, but in Germany's alternate history way. So there's some war going on in the Southeast Asia, so we have to go and take a look at it. So India is currently at war with Afghanistan, so they called us in as we are part of the same faction, the entity, but we will not be helping them, as India can pretty much take on Afghanistan, as they have 22 and they have only 4 to 6, so we actually decline the war. Our manpower is only growing by 283, which is not good, so we have to find a way to increase it. We can now also do the national focus for the King's speech, and we'll want to remove the divided government's spirit, as we'll want to try to secure the North Atlantic. The reason why we want to secure the North Atlantic is because Britain is basically about to go to war with us, as we have their royal family with us. Before Britain turned communist, the royal family actually fled Britain and into Canada, so we are pretty much about to go to war, but Britain is allied with France, which is also communist. So we have to try to build up our navy later on. If we look at the logistics tab, you can see Canada's resources are pretty bad, as they only have a surplus of aluminium and oil, which isn't basically a lot either. So we'll try to declare war with the United States if something were to happen to them. So we'll be going down the drafting of the Bill C7, as we want to remove the national spirit divided government. We can also have enough political power points now to modify our governments. We'll be doing our companies first, as it actually helps with reducing time to research and time to produce new weapons. The best would be to go with electronics right now, as we are focusing on trying to keep up to date with technology. So the King Studio Advance event has popped up, so now we can either support them or not support them. So there's two choices we can choose. One would be increasing 3 types of parties, and the other would be still increasing, but only one type. But both of them have to increase the same one type of party, and we'll be checking our party right now, which is market labels. So if we actually boost our own party's popularity, we'll increase our daily political power gain. So we'll want to do that. So as we're market labels, we'll go with the second one. Even though the first one gives more, it actually also boosts the other parties. So we'll be going with the second one. And also we just got hit by something which I have no idea what just happened, but United States and Australasian Confederation have a negative opinion on us. So India and Afghanistan has actually signed a white peace, so nothing to worry about. Even though India could have easily puppeted. And with our current national focus, we have been given a choice to support either Howie's plan or Tory's plan. So basically, Howie wants an ambitious plan that actually improves the military industry of Canada by subsidizing key industries and also building the infrastructure to support them. But some radical members actually don't want his plan to go through, but now he's threatening to step down. But we don't even know what's Tory's plan, so we can't support Tory's plan, but we could create a compromise, but there isn't a third option. So we'll be seeing who's Howie first. So CD Howie is actually our economy minister, and he's also our party, so that's pretty good. But there's no Tory over here, so I'll presume we go with Howie's plan, as we don't want to step down. We don't want him to step down. And either way, both of the choices look the same, so we'll see what it impacts in the future. So Parliament has actually finally voted on our draft of Bill C7. We can allow it to go through, or we can make it fail, but why would we want to make it fail when it obviously looks at making it go through is actually much positive. So we'll be going with the Bill C7 passes. So we can continue going down the Constitution Act, which we can remove our national spirit. So another parliament debate, which basically one party is fighting the other. The first party, which is the Conservative Party, is trying to ask for us to bring back our armed forces and reclaim the home islands, but the Liberal Party wants instead to give them more training and some doctrine. So our first choice would be to support the full conscription, and our second would be no conscription. And the first would be obviously nobody's really interested in full conscription, as it will reduce our national unity, and ours is only at 55, so it's pretty low. But without conscription, it will increase our national unity, so we'll want that. Our free civilian factories, which means we can build more military factories. We have 13 military factories and 3 are in use, so I think we'll build more. Maybe at 20 we'll stop. We'll try to focus on the East Coast, even though the British and French will most likely attack on the East Coast, because why not? No, but the real thing will be because we will be securing the North Atlantic soon, so even if we build out industry all in the east and some in the west. We are still secure the north, meaning most likely we are still islands from Denmark, so we can instead use Iceland and Greenland later on to create a sort of defensive structure so the British cannot get to our mainland. Another two events came up. So Bishop wants us to spend more money and manpower on modernizing our air force. So the first step would be supporting him, which basically reduces our manpower and our political power, but we'll gain quite a good advantage on our air force. But for the second step, which will decline the air force any more money and manpower than the other ranks of our military, but it will increase our political power and our manpower. So we don't really know if we want to decline our air force right now because we want to have basically a good army, a good navy, and a good air force. So I think we'll be reducing our manpower. It's okay, it's only 15,000, 150,000. And our second would be the posh exiles and syndicalist sympathizers. So in this event, Canada basically managed to luckily avoid the war that British faced before becoming communists. But now our mainland is fighting with the other British exiles, basically stating that something about spying on them. So we are given two options. The first would be the secret police, the no secret police, which means we're all Canadians and we'll gain good positive bonuses such as national unity plus 5%, daily political power cost minus 0.05 for one whole year. But our other tab will be supporting Manion's community on un-Canadian activities, basically stating that we will actually activate the secret police, which will reduce our national unity. So the obvious choice would be to go for the no secret police, as we want to increase our national unity instead of decreasing it. And I think with that, it is a good time to stop here. And as usual, do tell me in the comment section below on what you do think of this video and how I can actually improve on the entire quality of this video. And also, if you have any other questions on any games I've done so far on my channel, you can ask me on this question on this video's comment section below, and I'll be more than happy to answer it. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and share, as that actually means a lot to me and it helps me out a lot. So as usual, thank you for watching and goodbye.